Hey guys, today we're going to be tackling a project that I put off for a little while, which is the vent window seal right here. And I've heard a lot of people having some issues with it. I completed the passenger side, turned out pretty good. And there was kind of some struggle at first, and then finally I got the idea of how it was supposed to work. So hopefully this video will help you out with getting your vent window seal installed. First of all, I'm going to show you the condition of the one that we're working on right now. All right, so this is the same truck. This is just the driver's side. It just has a red door on it because that's all I could find. So as you can see, if you were to take this thing through a car wash, you're probably taking a shower as well. So, I mean, it's all the way around there. So that's no good. So the actual seal on the edge of the window looks like it's pretty good. So I didn't bother getting a new one of those. We are gonna have to strip the door down a little bit just to get this vent window mechanism out. And we should be able to do that. I was able to do it on the passenger side without taking the window out and without taking, I mean, you have to unbolt this stuff, but you just kind of push it to the side and it gives you enough room to pull it out. So pretty straightforward though. You got two little screws that go on the side right here. Should be two on top that hold this on, but there's just two little bolts that you have to undo there, and then that will release that whole channel. So also, I've been getting a lot of questions on these. I do have a video specifically for how I made these, and you can check that out. I'll put a link to it up in the corner. First off, we're gonna have to take off the access panel, and that way we can get inside there and actually start pulling some of this stuff apart. First of all, we actually have a stripped out screw right here, and I'm gonna use the extractor kit that literally never works for me and see if I can get this out. If I can get this out, it'll be literally the first time this extractor kit has ever worked. So bear with me while I try to get this out. For the first time in history, a bolt extractor has actually worked for me. So got that out of there. All right guys, so as you can see, our vent window is now loose, but one thing that I noticed on the other side was instead of taking the whole door apart, what I did was I just unscrewed this top part, set this screw aside, and then what I did was roll down the window. You'll want to unsnap this little weather stripping up here, just kind of pull it down and out of the way to the side, and then you'll see you'll have a little bit more play in this little channel here. So, and that gave me enough room on the other side. We're going to try to wiggle this thing out now. There's also a screw right here, and whoever put that in there, looks like they used like a big bolt. Yours should be a screw, so but now this thing should just pop right out. So now the thing should pop right out of there. All right, there we go. So we've got the vent window out of there, and now we can take this to our bench and then do the installation there. All right guys, so as you can see, we've got two screws here that hold a pin in, and that's what keeps the upper part of the vent window in as it's rotating. So there's two screws that are supposed to be there and hold that in. This one is stripped as well, believe it or not, and there's only one in there. So that's the way it was when I found it. So obviously it's a good thing that we're going through here and doing all this. So we're going to try to get this out. We may have to use the extractor again, but nope, it came out. Okay. So that just comes right off. We'll replace that screw with two screws. All right, and then over here on the bottom side, there's a little nut that holds on a spring and then some washers. So you're just going to take that off. Wrong way. You don't have to worry about the spring flying off or anything because it's not really under a whole lot of tension at all. So just going to take this off, lay everything to the side so you can clean it all up. So it does appear that the washer right there is seized on. So we're going to try to work at that and see if we can get this off. All right guys, so as you can see, I've got the old seal out of there and I've got the new seal right here. one side of this is notched. That way the upper pin where the window kind of pivots is notched out. That way it allows room for the window to do that. So you just need to make sure that that's on the outside. The biggest thing that I found is that the seal has some holes in it, and that is to allow for the screw to go through and not like obviously mess up your weather stripping. So basically you line those holes up. Essentially when you push it in there, you'll feel it click in, so you'll know that it's seated all the way. And the main thing to worry about first, at least that I have found, is that you get this seated right where your pin is going to be. That way you know that there's not going to be any weather stripping in the way when you're complete. So you get that seated first, and then you just start working your way around. Okay, so I've got the new seal seated on there. Another big thing to point out is that you want to kind of start from the point where the little pivot arm is, and then work your way all the way back in here, and really make sure that you got it seated here in this corner, because it might feel like it's on there right, but you have to really force it into that corner. But it took me maybe like 5 minutes with my bare hands just to get this thing all the way seated on there, and as you can see, it's not coming off there. It's completely seated, so it is ready to put back together and put back in the truck. The other thing that I'll say is that here where the pin goes through for the window, for the bottom of the window, you have to kind of drill a little bit of a hole in there. There is a little bit of a pinhole in there. You probably won't see it on camera, but kind of gives you an idea of where it's supposed to go. And then I did have to go through and drill a bigger hole on the other side, so that way the pin just easily slides up in there. So we're gonna get all the pieces of the window cleaned up and then put back on here, and then we'll get ready to throw this back on the truck. All right guys, so I've got it completely installed now. Everything looks really nice. You can't see any daylight through there anymore, so much better. This definitely needed this, but this window seal is from LMC Truck, and I'll link to it down below. I've seen comments in there saying that it doesn't fit the truck and they're junk and all that. Mine fit perfectly on both sides for a 63 F100. The only thing that I had to do was trim a little bit off right there, which you probably saw that on the time lapse, but just a tiny amount. But everything else fits perfectly. And this was actually kind of nice, because if you had it a little bit off, then you could trim here or there, and you have room to make mistakes, you know what I'm saying? So I think LMC Truck deserves a little bit more credit, because it was actually a very good product. The window opens as it should. So here's that notched out section I was talking about. Got a little notch there, that way your pivot point can go in and seat and get a good seal. So, but as you can see, it's not bound up or anything. The window opens and closes perfectly fine, and it's just a really good seal. So to be completely honest, I was a little bit worried about doing these, because I heard a lot of people say that they were really hard, but I'm telling you, they're not hard at all. Super easy, actually. It does take a little bit of force. Maybe you might have to use some like pliers or something to kind of convince it to go in there, but I think it was perfectly fine. Again, on this side, same kind of quality, went in there really easily. There's no need for any kind of like adhesives or anything. It seats in there really nice. And this is a cold day too, so it's not ideal to be working with rubber products, but I'm telling you, it's just perfect. It fits in there perfectly. All right, really just want to make a quick video on how to install those, because they are kind of confusing. Once you look at the seal, it doesn't make any sense, but once you take it all apart, it starts making sense. So if you have any questions or anything like that, I'd love to answer them. You can also join my Facebook page, where I kind of go more in depth with people on there in the comments section and stuff. So if you have any questions, make sure you check that out. And again, if this video helped you in any kind of way, make sure you give it a like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. I would greatly appreciate that. That way we continue to grow the channel, which has been going great, because the goal this year was to hit 1,000, and I think we're on track to hit 1,500 now. So it's really nice, and I appreciate all you guys so much for subscribing and following, and a lot of you guys even watch and comment on every single video. So very, very appreciative of that, and you guys are awesome. Other than that, stay tuned for some awesome content. There's a lot more coming at you, especially once I recover from a little dental surgery I had and this little sniffle thing I got going on. So stay tuned for more. Thank you guys, and I'll see you in the next video.